Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett. Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. C8 Rally Driver is the one-stop shop for your C8 Corvette. Choose from custom-designed trunk and front covers, Z06 engine builder CNC plaques, customized wind restrictors, fluid caps, strut covers, rear hatch supports, and more. Everything is uniquely designed to provide you with custom accessories for your C8 Corvette. Visit their website at C8RallyDriver.com and let your imagination run wild. That's C8RallyDriver.com. Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit Aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com. And use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. And a shout out to Canadian Corvette Forum and Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. All right, here we go. It's time to bring you the latest Corvette news and headlines with my pal Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Keith is here every other week. We keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Keith, welcome back to the show. How's everything in the world of Corvette Blogger?
Yeah, everything's good. We've got some decent weather down here in Florida, a little cool, but sometimes fun. We've got all kinds of events down here with the racing. We've had the auctions. Everything's gearing up for a great 2024, so let's get at it.
Let's get at it, buddy. Let's start off as we always do with Corvette production updates from the Bowling Green Assembly Plant.
Well, Steve, it's like they added nitrous to the Corvette assembly line over the last few weeks, just based on the number of cars that have been built. I mean, it's been kind of crazy. We've seen some record days of production. Not all rosy. We didn't seem to have any E-Rays built last week, although we don't know exactly how Thursday and Friday went. But currently, we've got some totals here we'll share for the 2024 model year. We're showing that 11,825 Stingrays have been completed, 3,308 Z06s, and then 48 E-Rays. So our total for 2024 so far is 15,181 cars. We had a couple of years where we only did 15,000 the entire run.
Right.
The fact that we're sitting after one quarter of production, we started September 15th or 18th, I think. And now we're looking at 15,000 cars. So yeah, if you can keep that up over the course of the rest of the year, we should end up with another good number, although I don't think it'll be anywhere near what we saw for 2023.
Right.
Our prediction last time we talked, we were talking about the doubling of the E-Ray production over that 3-week span. And that's what it actually did. The week of January 8th, they built 7 cars, and then they came back the following week, built 15 cars, came back the third week, January 22nd, built 23 cars. And then, like you said, they just essentially have dropped off as production started booming with all these Stingrays and Z06s coming off the line. We're still waiting for a little bit more insight into that. Of course, we know that the last allocation round, there were no E-Ray allocations, although we've heard of a dealer that had one picked up by surprise. Occasionally, they'll do that to fill in a hole somewhere, but that's where we are right now for 2024.
Okay, that sounds good, Keith. You know, we had a record 222 Corvettes were built on Tuesday, January 23rd, which was a record then, wasn't it?
Well, here's what we got. Corvette Assembly Plant built 222 cars on January 23rd, and they did that because they were able to move to overtime. The previous record that we had was, we believe it was 225, and that was done in September, just after the 2024s had started. It was all Stingrays, too, by the way. They did that.
Okay.
They are running overtime right now. We reached out to our media contact at the assembly plant that says they're running extra overtime for an undetermined amount of days, and that we even heard that there was a Saturday that was going to be picked up. The last 2 weeks of January, a substantial uptick in daily quantities. They've just been cranking them out. Regarding the 261 units completed on January 29th, we get our numbers always done on a delayed basis. So it was on that Wednesday that we got Monday's numbers, and it showed 261. Again, mind-blowing numbers. But some of those numbers came from that Saturday shift. They ran a rare 4-hour shift on Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago. They actually built 232 cars on that Monday, but then they did come back on that following Tuesday, built 242 Corvettes. Again, 521 cars completed over the course of 3 days or 4.5 shifts. It's an amazing amount of cars that are coming off the line. I know some people are freaking out about, there goes the depreciation and all this, but this was always the plan from the beginning. We like to say that a lot of it's part of GM's worldwide domination tour, where a lot of these cars will end up being exported. We've heard of dealers that now have reached the end of any list that they've had, so they're ordering dealer stock cars right now, which again is a good thing. It'd be nice to walk into a dealership and see 4 or 5 Corvettes available immediately to buy right off the lot.
Yeah.
We're headed there. As far as the Z06 goes, that car's still way in demand. And then the people that are waiting on their E-Rays, we know that there are no E-Rays been delivered yet. Not even Mr. Hendrick has his brand new black E-Ray.
Okay. You know, and I was going to say, we did 222 Corvettes on the 23rd of January. Then we just broke that record and did 261 on January 29th.
Like you said, there's something in the water.
Yeah.
We don't know if they're speeding up the line at all. I doubt that's the case. I think they're just working a lot more hours. And the good news is that it seems like they've got the parts and the production. We talked about the last constraint report. There was nothing on Z06 constraints other than an LPO item, which is the cross-brace carbon fiber add-on. All is good news on that front. Again, if they can just keep up this pace for a little bit, we'll see some really good cars coming out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also at the National Corvette Museum, we've got a new director of collections and exhibits named Robert Maxhimer.
Yeah, he's director of collections and exhibits. He comes from Bowling Green from the San Diego History Center, and he actually put in nearly a decade at Walt Disney Company. He's going to be in charge of NCM's collections of historically significant Corvettes and more than 50,000 Corvette artifacts. And then he works with the team, and they'll develop any new exhibits for the NCM in the coming years. Brings a wealth of experience, and moving from San Diego to Central Kentucky, great organization he's coming to. Looking forward to meeting him at the Bash this spring.
Absolutely right. Well, buddy, it's time for our first break. When we come back, it's Corvette racing and Corvette rumors coming up next on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome, with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
What makes Showcase so convenient is the ability to put this thing up in literally 10 minutes. And then if you want to move it, it's very easy to take down and move it to another location, move it somewhere else in your garage. And within 15 minutes of unboxing it, you've got your car inside and protected. If you want the best in class protection, get a Showcase by Car Capsule, the most awarded protection on the planet.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
You're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. So visit wheelcraft.com today or give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Every other week, we keep you current and up to date on what's happening in the world of Corvette. In segment number 2, we always cover Corvette racing and Corvette rumors. Keith, let's start with racing first. 2024 marks a new era for Corvette racing, and we started at Daytona with the Rolex 24 Challenge. How did everything turn out for Corvette racing?
You know, it was a big build-up, but it was a weekend of mixed results for the 4 new Z06 GT3Rs. They all obviously made their racing debuts at the Rolex 24. You know, on the positive side, there was some really good stuff that was happening. The number 3 and the 4 Corvettes, they led a combined 188 laps of the 773 run in GTD Pro during the race. Anytime you can significantly run that many laps in front is a good thing. It seemed like sometimes the pace wasn't good during the practices, and then all of a sudden it would be really good. So there is still a lot of issues in terms of really sorting out these cars and figuring out where we are. The good news, both the cars finished the 24-hour race, but some of the not good things, we had the 2 customer cars raced by AWA Racing. They had significant issues throughout the race. So one of their cars wasn't even able to start the race.
Wow.
With the rest of the grid. It was having some issues there. They had to take it back behind the wall and ended up starting from pit lane. Both of those cars would end up retiring early from the race. And then we also had our issues with the Pro Class cars during the race. The number 3 car had a cracked oil tank, while the number 4 car had to replace a power steering pump inside the final 6 hours. That really caused us to drop down in the standings. I think we dropped down 5 or 6 laps before the end there. We ended up finishing 5th out of 13 cars in the class, while the number 4 car finished in 8th place. And it was the number 62 Ferrari that would win the class. There were some growing pains. That's what Pratt Miller Motorsports writes it off. And it was painful to watch the Corvettes quite not living up to their expectations. You know, we've been building this car up for about a year and a half or now. But on the positive side, that's what racing does. Racing makes the cars better. You know, a lot of these production parts in the cars are like 80% production, so they might not be up to spec for grueling 24 hours of racing that we see at Rolex. So maybe the benefit of this is that some of these parts are fixed for racing, but they benefit the production cars. So we'll just have to see how that all sorts out. We do know that the next race for the Z06 GT3Rs are in Qatar for the opening of the FIA World Endurance Championship. That's on Saturday, March 2nd. TF Sport will have 2 Z06 racers there, and they're going to race for the full season. And then in IMSA, we'll see Corvettes racing again for the Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring on Saturday, March 16th. And of course, Corvette Racing and AWA will both be there with their 4 Corvettes.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's the first race. You do have growing pains. It's the first time out of the box. It'll get better, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Of course, Sebring, they spent a lot of time practicing there, so maybe they've got the car a little bit dialed in better for that track. Of course, that track is fairly unique because it features a lot of the old runways from the bombers that were there in World War II.
Right.
Very bumpy. So if anything's going to break, it's going to break at Sebring.
That's for sure.
They've really worked out some of that stuff. And like I said, maybe do some more real world testing as opposed to some of the simulator stuff and get that stuff to break in practice so it doesn't break during the race.
Right. You know, one of the things I loved about the GT3R, we got a behind the scenes look at the build process of these cars. That video was really cool.
Yeah, and leading up to the race, there was all kinds of information that was coming out. We know about these cars, but we really don't know about these cars, you know?
Right.
And like I said, kind of the shocking points was they said that 80% of the car uses production parts. That's quite a bit. And then the other content is building the car to the GT3 specifications and all the safety equipment and all that stuff. The car actually starts out as a frame on the line at Bowling Green, and then the chassis is taken up to Pratt Miller's facility in Michigan, where it all comes together. And they said it takes about 16 weeks from start to finish to fully assemble a complete Z06 GT3R Corvette. When designing and racing the new car, they did a ton of simulations to set their targets, and they said that when they got out that first time, it was really, really close to a lot of those targets they had set. The simulation does do a good job in doing that. But like we said, you need to get out there and really race these cars and get them to do their thing so we know exactly what will break and what needs to be structurally fixed and all the other stuff that goes along with it. But it's really fascinating stuff how closely related the GT3R is to the Z06.
Definitely. In the rumors section, Keith, this was really interesting. There's some new 2025 CT5V Blackwing colors, and that's Cadillac. We're wondering, are any of those colors coming to Corvette?
One of the things we always look at, especially around this time of year, is we'll start to get some hints and some ideas about what colors might be going away for 2024 and what's going to be new in 2025. And with the expanded paint lineup now at Bowling Green, we've seen between 2 and 3 colors change every year so far. With Cadillac coming out with 3 colors, we don't say all 3 of those will move over to Corvette, but there might be one of them, right? So we actually found the colors. We put them up there on the site. We did a poll, and we asked readers, if they like the new colors, what they like. So the 3 colors are, one of them's called Drift Metallic, and it's like a sky blue color. They say it reminds them of the smoke that comes when you do a burnout on your tires, like kind of like that light blue smoke.
Okay.
It's a very pretty color. The second color is this multi-dimensional Typhoon. It's a dark green metallic. It's really kind of bonkers how much travel it has as you see it in different views. It's a really pretty color, but because we already have the cacti, I'm not really feeling that one's going to make it over to Corvette. But then the third one is this Deep Space Metallic. That's what it's called, Deep Space Metallic, and it's a dark blue metallic. Kind of reminds us of Night Race blue, but I think it's got a little bit more blue in it. Not so much black as like the Night Race seem to have.
Okay.
So we ran a poll on this, and overwhelmingly, nearly 70% of voters said they like the Deep Space Metallic dark blue. The Typhoon, the green color, came in second with 23% of the vote, and then the sky blue came in third at 9%. Not bad. We'd still like to see some additional colors there. I know people are still clamoring. They want to see a real Corvette racing yellow as opposed to the Accelerate yellow we have. Caffeine, they only sold 500 and some cars last year in caffeine. We expect that color to be different. And then one of the colors that's been a mainstay now, Ceramic Matrix Gray, that's been on the cars since 2018. We think that someone on the Corvette team absolutely loves that color. Harlan. We don't know if it's going to stick around another year. It does decent numbers every year.
Yeah.
Now the fun season where we start to speculate what we have. So with these colors, we don't know if it's going to happen or not. And there's always that dark horse that comes out of nowhere. It's like, wow, really surprises people.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have all that in place by the time we're at the Bash. Last year we were able to actually see the new colors on the cars at the Bash. We'd like to do that again this year if possible.
I'd like that. That would be a lot of fun. Well, buddy, let's take our final break. When we come back, it's the lighter side of Corvette on deck here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25, and every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. So visit wheelcraft.com or call them 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. We keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car every other week. In this final segment, we always talk about the lighter side of Corvette. Keith, this is the age-old conversation and discussion. Is Corvette a supercar or not?
Well, I was going to joke and say yes. Next question. Let me get your opinion on this, Steve. Do you think the Corvette is a supercar?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think a lot of Corvette people think like that. Our friend Lyle from the CNF Corvettes YouTube channel asked this question and then dived into the subject. We ran the video and actually got some surprising results there. While not every Corvette could be considered a supercar, I think the short answer is yes. Corvette has definitely had supercar models in its lineup. Both previously, you can go back to C4 ZR1. That was a Lotus-designed engine built by Mercury Marine. Costs double the price of a regular Corvette. Of course, the C7 ZR1, we've seen the prices explode with that car. It's 755 horsepower, the last hurrah of the front engine rear-wheel drive Corvettes. And then currently we have the C8 Z06 with that bespoke LT6 V8 and that sound. So I'd say that the future of C8s like the ZR1 and Zora will most also likely fall into that supercar category as well. But what's interesting is after we have this whole conversation, Car and Driver magazine comes out, and on the cover it shows a Corvette Z06 and it says America's $100,000 hypercar.
Right.
So it's not just a supercar, Steve, it's a hypercar.
Well, I don't know if it's a hypercar, Keith, but when you consider that the Corvette is under $100,000, anything that's comparable to that in Ferrari is going to be $235,000, $250,000, or in a McLaren, it's still going to be $335,000 to match the spec of a C8 Corvette.
Yeah, I think you got to really kind of look at the models, and I don't want to call the Stingray the budget model of the lineup, but it's the starter of that. Would you call a Porsche Boxster a supercar? Not really, but there are other Porsches that you would call. So right. I think you really look more at the models and then what they offer as opposed to just overall saying all Corvettes are supercars. You look back in the history and some of them were just dogs. Some of them didn't do all that well. You know, a lot of it's just based on the fact that we're a mass production car and these others usually aren't mass production.
Correct.
There's a lot to said about that.
Well, and we'll get into the hypercar category, I think, when we see the ZR1 and the Zora. That'll probably make us into that hypercar category.
It's something to look forward to.
Absolutely right. Buddy, we also had a couple C2s that really brought some big money at auctions. First, a 67 Resto Mod sold to Barrett Jackson for $1.1 million.
This was, again, just an amazing sale. I was watching this when it came on the block. The car was built by Jeff Hayes, who's just become the master builder of Corvette Resto Mods over the years. His creations just keep breaking records. You know, a few years ago, we'd see his cars go across Barrett Jackson. They'd sell for $250,000, $300,000, $350,000. 2021 and 22, all that jumped like $700,000. He had a silver blue 67 Corvette with a cream interior. That sold for $715,000 in 2022. Wow. And then last year, he did this dirty martini green 67. It had this buttercream interior. Again, just all the stuff's over the top. That sold for a record $777,000. His latest creation was a 67 convertible. It was called Champagne over Linen. It had to be one of the most beautiful Resto Mod interiors we've ever seen. Usually you see like a carbon fiber weave that's dark and black. He did this carbon fiber all in this linen color, so it was all light. Of course, you had an LS3, you had an Art Morrison chassis. There's two guys that really wanted this car. Otherwise, it probably would have sold for around $700,000, but two guys wanted it. It hammered for $1 million, and then with commission, it ended up being $1.1 million. It is the highest priced custom 1967 Corvette I think we've ever seen.
That's amazing. And then we had a 63 split window. So this one was a Z06. It was also a big tank, and it sold at Mecum Kissimmee for $935,000.
Yeah, so what's cool about this is, the first one we're talking about is a customized Corvette, looked nothing like the car coming off the St. Louis line. But then we had the 63 Z06 split window that was highly original. This was one of the cars that was offered by consignor Tom Hill that we met during our Corvette day at Mecum.
Right.
What, again, really sets this car apart is the M03 big tank option. It's a 36.5 gallon gas tank. Chevy only built 199 Z06s in 1963. The big tank was also supposed to be part of that option, but it ended up being its own option separate. So it ended up doing a lot less. Only 63 were produced, and this was number 51. The catalog description also goes on to say it was the only tuxedo black with red interior. With Corvette people, they love that red interior with the N03 options. This was a no reserve auction. It would hammer at $850,000, and then with commission, $935,000. So it was the number 2 Corvette seller at Mecum's Kissimmee auction. A beautiful car, and we know that we'll see that car again probably in the future sometime.
Absolutely, yeah. And this was interesting as well. The gross margin for a C8 Corvette, a Z06 at Barrett Jackson, the gross margin was $52,000, almost $600.
Yeah, so people have really been interested in where Z06 prices are headed. You see some results, you say, oh, they're coming down. And then you see some results and you say, oh, look, they're still going up. It's really just a snapshot. It's not really a trend that we're seeing, but a total of 7 Corvette Z06s were offered during Barrett Jackson, and all were sold at no reserve. One of those cars, the top selling car, was the Chip Miller and Amyloidosis Foundation Z06.
Right.
So it was a charity car. Because it was a charity car, we look at it, but we throw it out. We don't count it with the others. So Barrett Jackson, when they do their catalog listings, they give us the VIN for each of the cars. So we're able to look up the window stickers and see what the original MSRP was. Of course, we don't know if the buyers paid commissions. We do know that Barrett Jackson puts a commission on their sales price. So it's not exactly what the buyer bought a car for and sold it for and made that amount of money, but it's a good guide for us. We did see that the average, like you said, 52,597. The smallest was 32,000 and the largest was 111,000. So this is the head scratcher, as Steve, our Detroit bureau, likes to say, the face palm, the face palm of the auction.
Yep.
Was a 23 Corvette Z06. It was a 1LZ car. Its original MSRP was $114,000.
Okay.
And it sold for $225,000 with commission.
Oh my gosh.
Steve, there were Z07s with full carbon fiber aero that sold less than this car. We don't know why. It's Elkhart Lake Blue. It had a couple of options on it. It had competition seats, seatbelt color, things like that. Nothing really major. It didn't even have front lift or anything like that. And sold for $225,000. So that's your head scratcher for the auction. That price did inflate that $52,000 somewhat. But every car that was sold at Barrett Jackson sold for at least $32,000 or more than the MSRP.
That's amazing.
I would say things are still pretty good, especially when you go to a high-end auction like Barrett Jackson.
Definitely. Also, buddy, Road and Track had their 2024 Performance Car of the Year, and the E-Ray was part of that group of cars. Did the E-Ray do pretty good in that thing?
You know, we had high hopes for it. Of course, the Z06 had swept the awards a year previously, and the E-Ray was already off to a good start for 2024. But the competition in this Road and Track Performance Car of the Year, it was literally stacked against the E-Ray. They did 2 classes. They used $100,000 as your price point. They did a group of cars under $100,000 and then a group of cars above $100,000. Of course, the E-Ray starts at $104,000, $106,000. So competing against Porsches, a couple of Italian exotics. And there was even this insane one-seater car. I think it was a car. It was called the Bacmano. It was a $508,000 Ferrari V6 that would win the award. I have this theory that a lot of Corvette owners would be Ferrari owners if they could just afford it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't really blame the judges for picking a $500,000 Ferrari over a $100,000 Corvette when they basically do the same thing, but you just have some of that magic coming from the Ferrari, so I can't blame them.
Well, buddy, let's put it this way. If you have the $500,000 Ferrari, a $500,000 Ferrari, it better win the Performance Car of the Year.
You know, that's a good point. I did not think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, buddy, thanks for being back on Corvette Today. Coming up next week, it's going to be episode number 200 of the weekly episodes for Corvette Today.
Well, that's a great milestone, Steve. I know I'll be tuning in to listen to that, and hopefully you guys will too.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. Soul Performance Products at soulpp.com, the official exhaust of Corvette Today. True Wealth & Company at retirewithtrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at aerolarri.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.